I'm Ashton Addison from Blockwest Capital for InvestmentPitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews with Alex Shkor, the CEO of DEIP. Alex, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
It's my pleasure, Ashton, and thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. I'm excited to dive into the world of NFTs, but not any regular NFTs. This is the platform is much more than just NFTs, but what I'm most excited about is this intangible assets and being able to tokenize and bring in the real world into the crypto sphere. And I think that's going to have a huge role in expanding out this innovation that we have in the blockchain industry to people that didn't know that they could unlock value and potential in things that they would have never expected. So I think this is going to be a very interesting discussion. I would love for you to kick it off for us, Alex, with an overview of DEIP and some of the solutions that you're looking to drive into the market.
Yeah, thank you, Ashton. So, yeah, I indeed agree that bringing real world assets to the chain to our industry will unlock really unprecedented potential, because we have our crypto industry is focused on just crypto, but there are so many assets beyond crypto, and specifically intangibles, because they are not that utilized in real world. Mm-hmm. And what we are building a protocol for creator economy. This is basically a protocol for tokenization and governance of intangible assets, because all the creators produce intangibles, and if we put them on chain and tokenize, it will not only give opportunity to govern these assets with DAOs, for example, but also will unlock liquidity for these assets. This is what crypto industry does really well. This is why it's important to bring these assets. These tools developed for liquidity of the assets in crypto industry can really boost development of all the other industries.
Definitely, yeah, and that's a great intro. And I was reading through DEIP's site about the creator economy and unlocking that value. And with intangible assets, there's so many different things that intangible assets could be. Where do you start? Maybe you can talk about your focus, and your team's focus on the creator economy, what that specifically means, and where do you start with intangible assets?
Yeah, so it's very good question, and regarding where do we start? So because we provide an infrastructure for others to create platforms for tokenization of assets in any industry, either it's movie scripts, inventions, human capital, music, whatever, you name it. But we provide not only a toolkit, but we also want to lead and show how it's possible to use our tools to tokenize assets in any industry. And we did select couple of industries to showcase how it's possible. One industry is technology transfer. It's basically tokenization of inventions. And another industry is tokenization of human capital. It's basically software for boot camps to tokenize income share agreements. And why we did select these two industries? Because they're kind of opposite on the spectrum of the assets. So on one side of the spectrum, there's high risk assets with potentially higher profits, this is inventions, technologies. And another spectrum, these are ISA agreements, which are rather low risk, but also very limited returns. And we believe that all the other assets lay somewhere in between. So that's why we want to showcase how it's possible to do this with these two use cases, and let other implement their own.
Great. I think that's a great way to go about it as well, because with a lot of these decentralized platforms, I think community inclusion and growth driven by community as well is super important, to have everybody have the tools available and then be able to create what they want from those tools. And I was reading that part of this process of tokenizing the intangible assets uses NFTs, but it's not like a regular NFT. There's something different about it. Can you talk about what's special about the NFT process on DEIP and how it's different from a regular NFT?
Yeah, so because we use intangibles from real world for the tokenization process, it requires specific legal compliance and so on for intellectual property tokenization. So we developed like some regulation framework as well for these. But basically, in order to tokenize some assets, you just need to have a legal agreement which kind of attach some like economic or governance value to this token. So basically, you can attach their like rights to whom you can transfer these assets, to whom you can license these assets, whatever, like any rights and any economic value, like some royalties which are coming from these assets, like some profits from curations, also you name it. So any economic asset. Basically, this is a way how assets are tokenized on our platform.
Great to know. And yeah, definitely need to make sure you have those intellectual property rights lined up when you are creating something as a creator, because that's important, especially on the resale. If the assets are being moved around by multiple people and they're an NFT or you have the coding in there, then you're going to be getting royalties, which is something that you wouldn't normally be able to do with traditional intangible assets. Usually once you sell it, it's gone. So there's definitely a huge advantage there. And now I'm curious a little bit more on the process of once assets are tokenized and they're using this F-NFT, signature tokenization method that DEIP has, how do you actually increase the liquidity, are able to sell the intangible assets easier? Is there a marketplace with DEIP, or how else are you able to help boost the liquidity by tokenizing these assets?
Yeah. So it's a very good question, because like basically this is the main USP of the protocol, to boost liquidity of these assets and on any stage, because when you just develop these assets, boosting liquidity allows to get more capital for further development of these assets. When it's done, liquidity increase commercialization potential of these assets. So basically what we have is, as you said already, F-NFT framework, which allows not only to issue NFT on the protocol, but also fractionalize ownership of these assets. And even just by doing this, it's already increased liquidity, because selling a fraction of an asset easier than compared to selling the whole assets, especially if it's expensive one. But it's just the beginning, because once you fractionalize this asset, you can use it as a collateral in our dynamic liquidity protocol to borrow stable coins against these assets. And you just log this asset as a collateral and take a amount of stable coins, which is calculated based on collateralization ratio, and you can use it to like market your products, develop more assets, and so on. So this is basically a decentralized bank for creators, where you can just plug into this platform, register all your assets, and start getting more funding, more financial opportunities, not only for you, but also for whole industry.
Definitely. Yeah, that sounds like great added value for the creators. And, Alex, I wanted to just take a step back quickly. And, we've been talking about tokenizing the assets, putting them on the marketplace. And I wanted to get a view of where DEIP is at right now with all this technology, how far you've come so far with what you've developed. I know that there's still much more to be built, and your team's going to be working on this as the industry grows for years to come. But could you give an overview of where exactly you're at? Are there already creators working on this?
Yeah, so we have been building this like I would say an ecosystem of products for last 4 years almost already, and we to this year we are launching our substrate-based testnet. So it's basically Polkadot substrate-based testnet, and we also launching 2 of our portals. Like one is those I named I already named VDI for tokenization of human capital in form of income share agreements, and tech transfer platform for technology transfer offices. And also this year we released our constructor. It's basically Web3 constructor to create portals for the tokenization of assets in any industry. And this portal will right away be connected to DEIP network. So we also this year launching our Canary network. At least we hope so. So it depends how testnet will work. So and also this year we are launching our public token sale. So it's probably will be somewhere in the middle of November. Yeah, so there is a lot of things which are coming from the DEIP team this year. For example, another thing is Portals Builder program. So basically, we will launch this program, which will be giving resources like grants for those who want to build platforms, portals for tokenization of assets in their industry. So imagine you're like some person from music industry and you're well connected there and you already know all the stakeholders in the industry and you want to capitalize on this. You want to build a portal for tokenization of music from your industry or like movie scripts, whatever, and basically charge a fee for tokenization of every asset and basically become a portal in our network.
That's great. And I was just going to ask about that actually, with creators coming in the early stages for the tokenization, what kind of incentivizations your team has to be one of the first to start tokenizing and using the marketplace and growing the liquidity. And so you have grants available and you are incentivizing creators to get on this in the early stages.
Yeah, so we are not only incentivizing creators to create portals in the network, but for every portal we also will help to provide liquidity for these assets. So those who will come first and tokenize these assets will be able to benefit from dynamic liquidity protocol even more because we will subsidize liquidity on early stage. So you will be able to get funding, and we also will help to market this asset because we're very interested in this. We're interested that our marketplace network works well and like have a lot of usage. So that's why we'll be helping all the way for every portal which comes to us.
That's great to hear. And I'm curious, Alex, about creators that are tokenizing intangible assets that aren't necessarily, technically inclined, or they're in an industry that doesn't really have technical expertise. Have you really focused the platform on catering to, non-technical creators that might not know about Substrate, that might not know about NFTs and tokenization, and making it as easy as possible to use the platform?
This is exactly right about our kind of approach to the thing. We want to make it look and feel like you don't even know that there is a blockchain under the hood. So our approach is to build functionality in a way that it seamlessly can be used by anyone without even technical expertise. And for example, one of feature we have in our network is free transactions, because it's very high barrier for people from not from DeFi space, not from blockchain space, to pay, for example, for transactions, like for inviting people into your DAO and so on. And we realized we need to create functionality which will allow doing the things for free, kind of. So this we're very, very much focused on UX and how to make it really smooth experience for anyone, because we want to boost adoption. We want to not only capture the existing market, we want to expand it drastically for every player in the industry.
Definitely, I agree. And with that expansion, as your team, you've already been working on this for 4 years, but I'm curious on your vision in the long term, 4 to even 8, 10 years down the road, when the platform is running, there's tons of creators tokenizing intangible assets and easily providing liquidity to sell or buy them really easily. What do you think is going to be the key factor to success for your team in getting that mainstream adoption and being the go-to platform for tokenizing intangibles?
Yeah, I think actually, recently I realized that the number one thing we need to worry about is how to be as transparent as possible, as open as possible, as inclusive as possible, just to let anyone come to this ecosystem, just to not try to be a middleman anywhere. So that if we're building, for example, portals, we want to make others also be interested to build the same portal, because we don't want to capture value of these specific assets, like for ourselves. We want to just show how it's possible to be done. Like, for example, if there is a constructor, we don't want to be the only constructor provider in the ecosystem. We also want to incentivize others to do the same. So this is basically our approach, and we believe this is like a good go-to approach for anyone in crypto industry.
Definitely. I like that answer. And for the viewers that are looking to follow along, you mentioned that there's more updates coming in November. There's a token launch as well. You're growing out the substrate technology. What's the best way for the viewers to learn more about DEIP, get involved within the community, and learn more?
Yeah, so basically, like, visit our site, DEIP.world. There will be like major updates coming soon, like this September. We release new website, and there will be like also some tips of what they can start doing already right now with us. Also follow us on Twitter. We will be announcing our portals builder program. So if you want to build a portal for tokenization of assets in your industry, just follow us, and we will be the best entrance point for you. So we will do everything possible to make it experience smooth and easy for you.
Great. Thanks, Alex. I will leave those links in the description box below as well. All the best with all of the updates that your team's working on with DEIP, and let's follow up in the near future.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ashton, and hope to see you next time.